Rising, coming off the heels of all the buzz regarding the game and how apparently they were doing some back end updates to the Concord game on Steam that was suggesting that maybe they were going to do a free to play update for the game, but it turns out, yeah, that's not happening because there was an announcement by Herman Holst, the CEO for Sony Interactive Entertainment, the studio business group, that they are shutting down the Firewalk Studios along with apparently another studio called Neon Koi. I've never heard of this studio before, but apparently it was a studio that was working on a mobile game that they never released, and apparently that's getting shut down, which sorry for them that they never got to release their game, but Firewalk Studios getting shut down is pretty huge, and it really goes to show that they really decided that this game was a lost cause, especially considering that this game cost $200 million to make, and it was in such an abysmal state that they decided that they needed to pour another $200 million into the game just to hire contractors just to get this game across the finish line. And even then, the game was just like a mediocre embarrassment. Was like, we all know the deal. The game had like mediocre gameplay. It had like awful looking characters, and it was just a very unappealing game. And now I already discussed this with my bro like the other day when this announcement got made that, listen, we don't really take pleasure in people losing their jobs, especially when you're with a company for over 8 years, putting your time and effort into a game just to see it fail. Especially when it comes to the low level, like programmers and code monkeys that just go into they just want to work on a game. They just want to make money. They don't want to get caught in all the nonsense that's on social media these days. And obviously my heart goes out to those people. However, when it comes to certain development staff or former development staff going on social media, calling people talentless freaks because they don't enjoy the game, and other people saying that if you don't enjoy it and you keep complaining about these kinds of games, soon you're never going to have any new games to play because they're all going to be like this. And then to see your studio get shut down, those are the people I have no sympathy for, because despite these people having their own opinions and saying that these opinions don't represent the company, you're still kind of representing the company. When you put your company in your Twitter profile saying that I work for this company, you're still kind of representing them 24/7. So even if your opinions are your own, you really need to watch what you're saying. You can't be insulting potential customers with all this nonsense rhetoric, like calling potential customers talentless freaks, because it ends up leading to situations like this. Like again, I don't want games to fail. I don't want game studios to fail. But when you go out and attack your potential customers like this, don't be surprised when people have no sympathy for you, man. And so with all that being said, Sony shutting this studio down, deciding, let's just take the tax write-off and just run, and but where do they go from here? Where does Sony go from here? Are they gonna learn anything from this? At this point, I'm still gonna say no at this point, because there's so many franchises that they could have worked on instead of this game, and it's just a sad state that you have franchises like Jak and Daxter, and you have Wipeout, Twisted Metal, SOCOM, what else can I think about? Parappa the Rapper, Ape Escape, Killzone, like Killzone in particular is a game that I'm surprised they have not done anything with since that Shadowfall game, which I heard wasn't very good. I mean, I remember playing the original Killzone on the PS2. Okay, so that game kind of sucked. I mean, it kind of was kind of funky. Okay, it didn't suck, but it was kind of funky because I remember picking up the game because I remember everybody hyping it up to be a quote unquote Halo killer and whatnot. But it was a pretty cool game in its right, even though it was super clunky. Especially, I remember like playing like multiplayer matches, and that game barely stood above like 30 FPS on the PlayStation 2. But it was still fun, especially playing multiplayer matches. I would always grab the ISA rifle or the Hellgan rifle. It was so freaking busted with its like underslug like grenade launcher. Always insta kill people. And like the Hellgan rifle was okay. It had a shotgun as its alternate blast. It wasn't as busted as the ISA rifle, but still you could get some cheeky kills with it. And I have some fond memories of that game. I also remember like the time that Killzone 2 was revealed, and everybody going gaga for that reveal trailer, and people saying, damn, like graphics aren't gonna get any better than this. But it turned out that, you know, that reveal trailer was obviously a bunch of bullshots. It was not as like super amazing as it was going to be on the PS3. Eventually they did reveal a trailer that showed real gameplay, and it was still pretty cool looking, but not as impressive as that concept trailer. And then of course I never got to play Killzone 2. I heard it was really good though. Same thing for Killzone 3, which I also heard that there's revive projects trying to keep the servers for that game alive, since the PlayStation Network for PlayStation 3 is no longer online, I believe. So they wanted to keep the servers going, and that's pretty cool. That it speaks to volumes that people love these games so much that they're willing to keep them alive, the servers alive, and it shows you that there's a demand for those games, and just makes you wonder, why is Sony not pushing forward on these kinds of games? People obviously still like them. Again, another good example being the SOCOM series. That was basically the Call of Duty of the PlayStation 2 back in the day. Because if you weren't playing Call of Duty on the Xbox, you were playing SOCOM on the PS2. It was a really beloved third-person shooter, tactical shooter. It had a pretty huge community back then. I remember like having like tens of thousands of active players for both of those games. And then there was like SOCOM Confrontation on the PS3. I'm not sure how well received that was, but yeah, it was a series that, again, we haven't heard for a while. And then of course, like I said, you got Jak and Daxter, which we haven't heard from. We have the Sly Cooper series, which we haven't heard about from a while. Wipeout, we haven't heard about that in years. And Parappa the Rapper, it's a game that I loved back in the PS1, PS2 days, and we haven't heard about that. I remember the creator of Parappa the Rapper wanting to make a spiritual successor called Project Rap Rabbit, which unfortunately was a Kickstarter project that didn't get off the ground, that got canceled. And I'm not sure if he's ever going to revisit that concept again. I really would love if he ever did that. But yeah, it's just, Sony is wasting so much time and effort on games that nobody really likes. Again, and speaking of, again, back on Killzone, the company Guerrilla Games, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Yeah, they said they don't want to make another Killzone game. I believe it was an article from the art director saying, yeah, we're done with this franchise. Instead, they want to keep crapping out like Horizon games. Like they're working on a Horizon Zero Dawn game, which I don't think anyone really asked for. I know the first Horizon game was well received, but the second one not so much. And now they want to do a remaster of the first game. It's like, okay, that's cool and all, but like, can we get another Killzone game? Like, please? Like, and it's just like, yeah, like, and they said like, nah, we're not doing it. It's just like, why? There's like so many franchises, man, that Sony could be working on. Instead, they want to work on more live service slop, and then you give us stuff like Concord. And stuff like that just tells me like this company is circling the drain, man. I really hope they turn it around and start focusing on what gamers actually want instead of just focus on trash. Really, that's all I really wanted to say. I mean, I really hope Sony, like, you know, gets their heads out of their butts. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say in this video. So what do you think about Firewalk Studios shutting down? Do you think that this studio was redeemable? Do you think that they could have done something with Concord to save it? Do you think that Sony is just really wasting their time? Do you think Sony can, like, you know, make a comeback? Please let me know in the comment section below. And if you like what I do here, please rate, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mikedot, and I am saying peace.